A very warm welcome to all our viewers today for our literary program. Today with us we have a young student who is also an artist and wears multiple hats. A very warm welcome to you, Lyzander.
I'd like to start by thanking you and your team for conducting this interview.
It's a pleasure, and especially with us, we always promote young talents, and you being a young student who has written many books and columns, so it is a welcoming change, and most importantly, I think for our viewers, young viewers, it will be very encouraging. So coming back to your journey as a writer and a columnist,
Yes.
how did it all begin?
I first started writing when I was 13 years old. I heard about the plans to convert the Umngot River into a dam. Right? I mean, we all heard about that.
Right.
Devastated, absolutely devastated by the news, and I wrote to the Telegraph. So I wrote a small letter to the editor, and I started out with that, and then I wrote in the Sri Lankan Times as well, and I got incredible reviews from people. That really motivated me into writing more. Right after that, I wrote for the Quint, I wrote for the Print, but right now I'm focusing on just writing for the Sri Lankan Times, writing for the Telegraph, Northeast.
When you say you were you writing only editorials, or were you writing articles or poems?
I started with editorials and then into full-fledged articles with the Sri Lankan Times. The Sri Lankan Times actually is very encouraging. I mean, when I first started, my articles were a mess. I mean, typos here and there, and we didn't have AI, right? I mean, we'd have to run it through a program. I mean, you'd have to run it through spell checks, etc., and I didn't really know how to do that. I just whip out my Microsoft Word, start writing. That's how it all started. And then after my writing for so long, a publisher reached out to me. He was like, "Are you interested in doing a project with us, with Blue Rose?" And I said, "All right, what's the catch?" What's the catch? And he said, "There's no catch at all. You just have to write it, submit it to us. From this day forward, you send us poetries, about 50 to 60 poetries, and then we transform that into a book." And I said, "All right, there's no catch. I would love to do that." And that's how I started writing Teen Bugs.
But that is a huge number. I mean, it is what I'd like to believe, and youngsters who are viewing us today would say, because that's an artistic approach. When you write about poetries, columns and articles are something, it's a thought process. You think about it, you articulate what you want to write about it, and then you write. But when it comes to the artistic point of view, like poetry, or any literary in the sense which has an artistic touch to it, that is not something can be programmed, is it not?
No.
So coming back to that, so expecting 60 poems, that's a huge number and a lot of pressure for a young person. So how did you manage that, or how did you go about the process? Because I'm sure a lot of our young artists who are there, they must be feeling that pressure of delivering or putting it out their work. So coming from what you've just said, it is a lot of pressure again. So how did you go about it, and did you feel a little bit of pressure that there is like a deadline to submit this couple numbers of poems?
There's a deadline, number one. Number two, there's also writer's block. A lot of, like you said, a lot of pressure. But he gave me about a year and 6 months to complete my project, so 60 poetries. And he told me, think of a topic. So I decided to write on teenage dysphoria, mental health. That is very important right now in this generation, especially because of social media. Young people like myself are more aware about our emotions, and I think we're getting more emotionally intelligent. That's why I chose teenage dysphoria, and I completed that project in about a year and 3 months after, and 60 poetries, and it was it was really, really fun. I did have a lot of pressure, like I said, but it was not that immense because I love to write. I mean, I could sit down for hours and write. So 60 poems for me is not really that big of a deal. I'm not being egoistic or anything, but when you're an artist, you'd understand. When you love to do something, you do it again and again. To a certain point where people would think you have an illness of some sort, right?
Yeah, because when
it's
you
an
follow
addiction.
your passion,
Yeah.
it is very important. Something you believe in very strongly.
Mhm.
And when you have a passion about it,
Yeah.
of course, please, would you like to share about that journey and what, because there were 60 poems, like you said, so obviously it has to be a little bit of difference, right?
Yeah.
So what were your contents? And I think it's a very strong statement which you made, that in today's world where social media plays a lot of role in actually shaping a person's mental health, not only young people,
Yeah.
adults get affected, and for young minds to be exposed to so much and being trolled, because I think trolling is one of the most dangerous trend which affects young mind. So tell us about your journey as a young artist, going through that, dealing with that mental health aspect, converting it into, or rather translating it into poems, for our young viewers to actually connect to what you're saying.
For my book, I had set out on a journey to talk to adults, especially old and the elderly, talk to them about their teenage years, how they handled mental health. So I focused on love, on love and hope, right? They would give us their insights from their time about what love is, what hope is, because we don't seem to understand that, because again social media plays a big role, right? Now anyone from any part of the world could create any reel about what their perception of love is, even if it's incorrect, and thousands of people could like it, and that is the problem. I mean, there's no filter, right?
Yes.
Some people would write about how there's no love in this world anymore, right? And the sad thing is that everyone would think that's true, but that is not true. The whole reason I started writing was because of that. Is there love in this world? Is there hope in this world? Yes, there is. If you do read my book, you would actually understand how there's so much love in this world. And even if there's sadness, there is hope towards the end. And so I would go to strangers, I'd go to the elderly, they'd give me their insights on love and hope. And young people could look at this and they would understand how love and hope was, during those times, right? And how it's really different today. Because, like I said, social media plays a vital role. It can be positive, but it can also be really negative.
Yes, but when you say what I gather from, and I'm sure our viewers are gathering from, so if you're okay with it, for young, especially young people whom you say today they need a lot of hope, your experience in your personal take, and not just others, which is because it is reflective what you said, but it's also important for our budding poets there to not just back on someone else's experience, because then it's something you write, what you see from others, but what you feel, I think that is more intense as an artist. I'm sure you as an artist must be feeling that.
I just go back to Teen Box again. The strangers, the elderly, I even talk to people who I just meet at a park bench. I mean at a park or something. I would transform whatever perspective they have on love and hope, and I transform that into poems, right? In my personal experience, we'd have to go back to teenage dysphoria. Whenever I lose hope on anything, could be life, no reasons, it could be because of no reason at all, I would always talk to an elderly person. They are living libraries, right? That's what people call them. They have a lot of experience on love, hope, and whenever I talk to them, they would give me so much. They'd give me that comforting knowledge on hope or love, and that comforts me in ways that words can't really explain, right? If you talk to your mom, if you talk to your dad, your parents, if you talk to your parents, they give you a careful analysis of what hope is, or what love is, or what your choices should be. You talk to an old person, they tell you, okay, no one's going to tell you what I'm going to tell you right now, but listen to me carefully. And you listen to them, and it's very comforting. So that's why I talk to my friends all the time. They tell me, oh, I've lost hope in this and that. And I always tell them, have you tried talking to someone elderly, not your parents, not your aunts and uncles, but someone elderly? They're always quiet all the time because no one would ask them, right? So that's why I wrote Teen Bugs. Most of the content is from people, the elderly from old age homes, that I'd have a conversation with them for a long time. They tell me, okay, hope, when you've lost hope, when you feel like you don't have love in your life in any sort, in any form, think of it in this perspective. And they go on, yabba, yabba, yabba. They go on, and it's really comforting.
I'm sure our viewers can relate to what you've beautifully said, that even when you're young and you lose hope and love, when you question love in any form, I think the very strong statement which I relate to when you say that we never ask our elders, and that shows a bridging of gap between what we always say, that we have a gap between generations.
Generation gap, yes.
What you have very poignantly pointed out, that we never ask our seniors in any relation, could be uncle, aunts, or like you said, you visited old homes and you've interacted with them. They are a powerhouse of knowledge, and it is beautiful that in today's world, a young person like you would actually understand the value of elders' knowledge, experience, and share it with everyone very articulately, and also make others connect, young people. I think that is something, a very, very strong statement, especially like you said in today's world, coming back to our start of our conversation, that you went on to say that there's a social media pressure, we are so detached. I think a very strong point which you made to our viewers, especially young ones, is that don't forget your roots, especially when it comes to elders. Always stay connected. Somewhere down the line we can agree, like you said, there's a one part of it when you said that they expect us to do certain things, but also there's a treasure of knowledge, again reiterating your words, that it is so powerful to connect with and bridge that actual gap. Our viewers are, I'm surely, more interested to know any of your writing experiences which you have written in columns, and the challenges, if any, you have faced.
When talking about the challenges in today's world, as a writer,
as a columnist,
as a columnist, as a writer, as a contributor as well, AI is the biggest problem. You can't differentiate an actual work of art, with something that's written by a computer. When you use an AI to write about a certain topic, there's no empathy in your article anymore. It is not from it's no longer a human perspective anymore, but a machine's perspective.
Absolutely.
And you can't expect AI to write on topics that are really sensitive in today's world. You can't do that. When talking about health, when you talk about public issues that are very important, you need that human touch, right? Whenever you write about anything, the human perspective is very important. And right now, you can't really differentiate that.
Right.
You can't differentiate that. I could generate an article, and I could just say that it's written by me, and nobody would know. and that's really alarming. But right now there are certain softwares that can detect that. I don't know how accurate it is, but apart from the AI issue, the second issue is actually talking about the issues that we have right now. The example in Meghalaya, different issues. When you write about certain topics, you are also expected to just follow the general opinion of things, right? And I am someone who's not like that. I don't like to follow a general opinion. Why should I do that? I'm writing because it's my opinion, right? Very recently, I mean, a recent incident happened, a very unfortunate incident happened in Sora a few months back when a young man was killed by his wife. And you would expect a writer to write about how the police department is failing, how the Shenangs are not protecting the, they're not protecting their the place, and that how Shillong is very unsafe. That was the general opinion, right? You look at the mainstream media at that time. They talk about how they called Meghalaya unsafe. They said that the people.
Yeah, these are all collective opinions.
The collective opinions.
Anyone and everyone has an opinion today.
Everyone has a general opinion of things, right? So I wrote an article called "Don't Stain These Hills with Careless Ink," and I wrote about how there's actual effort that is being put up by the Shenangs, the village defense parties, the police department, and everyone there, right? We can't really conclude. Now, in today's world, you are guilty until you're proven innocent.
But that is also the law. One of the challenges is that when media or people have opinions and they give opinions on the content without knowing the facts of it. So that becomes one of the biggest challenges, because like what you said, yes, everyone is expected to write on opinions. Everyone can give their opinions, because again, freedom of speech comes with that, right? But my question, again reiterating back, is that they expect you to write common opinions, but that is where the writers are expressing themselves, right? The other I was asking about columnists, when you're writing with different subjects, social issues, of course, you are giving your opinions too, right? So do you think, are you trying to say that one of the challenges as a columnist is that you are expected to go with the popular opinion?
Yeah, the popular general opinion, that's what I meant. And you're berated if you don't follow that opinion. That's what I meant.
Exactly.
Long story short, that's what I meant. That's also another problem. When you give your own opinion, you're berated, etc., etc. That shouldn't be. I feel like we should all listen to everyone's opinions. It may sound wrong, but if you actually read into that, there might be a little bit of sense into that.
That's right. If you have any message for our young writers out there, I know we are running short of time, so for young artists or writers, what would your message to them, young writers like you are out there, what would your message to them be for our young viewers?
My message to the young people today is that you should just do it. Whenever you have any opinion on anything, you may face rejection, you may be berated for your views, but if you think there's some sense into that, you should just do it, get it published, and deal with the aftermaths later. And trust me, when you do that, you are brave, and you are the light for our world tomorrow.
I think that's beautifully said when you said that you are brave, because I think, especially for young people, the courage is something, of course, like you said also previously, that so much of pressure is there, your expectations from everyone in and around you, be it your family, be it your friends, or professionally, academically. And when you say And when you really put that out, like to be brave and courage, I think that is very important coming from a young person like you, for our young viewers to listen. Because in today's world, I think that very word to say that we are there with you, it's okay, you don't have to be always correct, but at least try, and whatever your thoughts are, put it out there and try your best. And like you've said, yeah, rejection is a part of life, not to get demotivated. And like you've always kept on harping on hope. I think that is so important, because you are saying that for your young people, you're holding on to hope. And I believe that in today's world, where so much of darkness is there, how you have said again and again, love and hope is something we can always hold on to. It is very, very important. Anything else you would like to add to it?
So my book, Teen Bugs, right, is unedited. Any typos and spelling errors, right, were all left. They were all left, and I chose not to correct it, because I wanted, by doing that, I want to tell our young audience out there, I want to tell everyone watching this that you can make mistakes, and it's totally fine. That defines who you are. When you make mistakes, you can't be perfect all the time. Absolutely. That's not possible. No human is like that.
Exactly.
And yes, when writing, you'll make a lot of mistakes, but it's all right. I make a lot of mistakes. I mean, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It defines who you are.
Exactly. And I think these are very powerful words, especially for every one of us. Not only just young people, but every one of us, say, and not, give your best, but not get bogged down or feel pressured into, especially when you started with having conversations and the topics we said about mental health being so important, not fall into the trap of, that vicious cycle of expectations and all. Give your best. And yes, we are not perfect. We will make mistakes. As long as we are ready to accept that, more importantly, and be humble about it. I think that is very, very important, that anyone, as an elder person, as a young person, make mistakes, but be humble about it and accept, and then move on and think for hope again. And we would love you to read from your poem.
My favorite verse in Teen Bugs is on the chapter of hope. It says, "Life is an infinite loop of atrocities, a wave of sorrow that keeps hitting your wall. But you can break that loop, because you are worthy and you are strong." Another's on a chapter of love. It says, "You say you love me because I remind you of the rain, yet you open your umbrella when it rains."
So I hope our young viewers today and all of us today have learned something, got to know something. And one of the most important takeaways, what Lyzander has said, is that be brave, be kind. And also, one of the beautiful lines what I personally felt connected to was that, bridging the gap, having experiences, sharing experiences, and more importantly, having this conversation with your elders, be it your family, be it people whom, like how he has observed and had a conversation with. It's a takeaway for us. And what are we but nothing? The experiences we come from, the experiences we learn from, and the stories, there are more to tell. Thank you so much once again, Lyzander, for being a part. It was very lovely talking to you. And thank you, our viewers.